Hey guys, it's me. It's Queen Ossetaro, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. All right, guys, if you have time, please drop us a comment in the comment section. Thank you to everyone who's been commenting. And likewise, if you have time, please pass this video on to somebody else who may enjoy it and give it a thumbs up. That always helps us here at Ask an Aquarius. When you give us a thumbs up, it lets YouTube know that you were engaged and enjoying the content. All right? Likewise. So I wanted to tell you really fast that in the background you're going to hear rain and maybe even thunder. We're during the rainy season. So just in case that bugs you, I wanted to let you know up front. It'll be starting and stopping at its leisure, basically. So let's talk about Aquarius, right? Somebody said something to me that was so funny, and people have said this to me ever since I was a small child. Aquarius are really, really smart very often, but we have like this Nutty Professor side, like this kind of like duh side sometimes, like this, some people call it the dumb blonde. And I hate to pick on blondes because, of course, all blondes aren't dumb. I've met some really intelligent blondes. But it's that kind of concept of the ditz, the Nutty Professor. So on one hand, you have this person who's so smart, but they can't comprehend the easiest things, Like, I'll give you an example. My godfather is brilliant, and he often explains physics and quantum theories and shit to me, right? And I'm sitting there like, wow. But he can't understand why something would make somebody cry. We were talking about this person, and he was like, why are they crying? I don't understand why they're crying. And I'm like, it's so crazy to me how, and he's an Aquarius, you can understand these difficult concepts, but you can't figure out why somebody's crying. That's Aquarius. We'll know something really difficult to understand, but the smallest, most simple things, and often relationships and emotions are those simple things. Because remember, relationships and emotions aren't easy, but you can tell when somebody says something to make somebody's feelings hurt. It's pretty obvious, right? Sometimes less obvious than others, but in many cases, you can tell, okay, somebody said this, and then the person reacted like this. Okay, their feelings are hurt. Very easy concept. He wouldn't connect those dots. And I would be sitting there like, hello, and he'd be like, huh, But he can explain things to me that I have a hard time comprehending when it comes to like physics and history and archaeology. And I'm like, what the hell, So that's how Aquarius are. Many of us have that ability, and you can let me know in the comment section if you're an Aquarius. Are you like that too? Do you understand complicated things, but certain small things just kind of go right over your head? Also, a lot of times I've noticed that it's human interactions. That's what I've noticed. Like an Aquarius, I noticed one Aquarius as a mechanic, okay? This mechanic can take a car apart with his bare hands and put it back together, and that baby would be humming like nothing was ever wrong with it. But at the same time, if you ask him something about basic history, and I mean basic history, like where's City Hall, who was the first president, things like that, he'll be looking at you like you're crazy. But he can take apart a car and put it back together in the dark in his sleep, And many Aquarius are like this. We'll understand. See, this is what I get from Aquarius, and this is what gets us in trouble in school. Aquarius wants to learn, and we're really smart, many of us, but we want to learn what we want to learn. We don't want to learn everything. So like when I was in school, I excelled in certain academics, and other ones I did enough that I could pass, like my math classes, for example. I don't like math. I do enough math to be able to handle my business. I can count my money. I can do some numerology. I can do some different things with astrology, with, adding things up. Very basic, very basic. So I can do stuff like that. because it's something that means something to me. But if you ask me to do a calculus problem, or something from geometry, or algebra, I'm gonna look at you like you're crazy. I can't even remember most of that stuff. So like, as an Aquarius, we have a tendency to focus on what we're interested in, and other things that don't interest us we don't really focus on. So people may wonder, like, how can you know all this stuff but not this? Just the other day I was telling you guys that I didn't know the difference between a cello and a bass. I mean, a 5-year-old knows the difference between a cello and a bass. If they have had a music class, I used to know that, but it totally went out my brain. And I didn't remember, like, it was totally just gone from me, because it's not something that I really cared about, until I heard a cello and I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. I heard a group, this group called Two Cellos, which you guys will probably hear me talk about because they're my latest obsession. But they're amazing. They're just amazing. And when I heard them on Facebook and I went to their YouTube channels and listened to their songs, I was like, oh my God, how did I not know what a cello was before? Because before it didn't matter. Before it wasn't something that was, interesting to me. I didn't care. But now I'm like, ooh, I want to know everything about the cello, So that's how Aquarius are. When something really interests us, we know everything about it, like everything. And like, if you think about, some of the stuff that I know how to do, I know about herbs, I know about oils, I know about witchcraft, I know about, different forms of divination, I know about cultures, I know about history, I know about all these different things, but I didn't know a bass from a cello. I couldn't tell you anything about a car. It's so many basic things that you probably know that I do not know. But I can explain long, complicated theories to you, in a 20-minute YouTube video, But I can't tell you some of the simple things that you probably learned in Boy Scouts, It's little kids that know more stuff about that kind of thing than I do. And I'm okay with that, because it's just not my thing. And like I said, when I was in school, that got me in trouble, because it was like my grades would be so high in one area and just B's in the other area. And my teachers are like, you real smart. Why you got B's? And it's like, I'm not interested. I do enough work to pass, enough work that my mama won't snap on me, basically. And that's pretty much it. So you will find that with Aquarius. Somebody said to me that Aquarius are idiot savants. But when I Googled the term, it doesn't really match, because it is the same thing. I mean, it's a person who is really advanced in one area, but they're not as advanced in simple things. But an idiot savant is a real mental disorder. It's a mental health disorder, and it's more severe. Because when somebody used a term, I was like, oh, that's a perfect term, but it just didn't fit. Because like I said, it's a mental, and I think a developmental, I think they called it a disorder. I think they might have called it a learning disability, something like that, a learning disorder, that kind of thing. But it's not just something that happens from your sun sign, you see. It's something that these people really do suffer from, and it's a lot more severe, because from what I understand, it's like Rain Man. For those of you who saw that movie, Rain Man is an amazing movie with Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman. It's an old movie though. It came out when I was young, and basically one of the brothers, Rain Man, has this ability to remember everything he sees, like everything, So Tom Cruise takes him to the casino and they win all this money because he can count and remember the cards. But anyway, Rain Man has this kind of disorder. I think it might even been more severe, but it's that kind of thing where he has this amazing mental talent on one hand, but on another hand, he can't take care of himself. He can't work, he can't take care of himself at all. He's in like a home or something, so it's a really good movie. It was amazing. So I realized from doing the research that is more of a mental disorder or a mental disability that some people have, but it's not the same with Aquarius. but it's very similar. I think that when it's with Aquarius, it's just to a lesser degree, but it's the same concept. You're able to understand these, complex thoughts and ideas on one hand, but on another hand, something as simple as human interactions evades you. Feelings can evade you. As an Aquarius, these are some of the things. So if you're like that and you're an Aquarius, or like I said, sometimes we're goofy, sometimes we're like losing our contact lens in the ice cube tray, stuff like that. Aquarius have these strange tendencies where you be like, you got some Nutty Professor in you, like you can't, like you're kind of goofy, but we're so damn smart at the same time. So if you're an Aquarius and you're like that, know that that's normal, number one, because a lot of Aquarius have told me they're like that. And a lot of people ask me why. A lot of people who aren't Aquarius ask me why are Aquarius like that. And I'm absolutely like that. And I know a lot of other ones that are. So it's very common for us. So if you know an Aquarius that's like that, it's very common. If they're not like that, that's fine too. But it's just something that's really, really common. So if you come across that, and I've heard this my whole life. So if you come across it, it's just an Aquarius thing. Okay? All right, guys. It's time for me to get going. So if you have a chance to, please give this video a thumbs up. And I'll see you tomorrow because I have a lot more to say. Deuces.